You sound so boring. I'm going to be blunt. I've done so many mock interviews with students, and one of the common things that comes up is they sound so boring, so uninterested, so monotone. Now, especially if you're applying for maths, you can use this to your advantage. And that's because most people who apply will sound boring, will sound monotone. You want to sound interested, sound excited, because you should be. You have the honor to do an interview at the best universities in the world, either Oxford or Cambridge. And you have the chance to go and study at these amazing institutions. You should be excited. You should be like, wow, okay, cool. I'm really looking forward to this. And let that come across in your interview. Because also, what you've got to remember is the people who are taking you on, the tutors, the people who are delivering the interviews, those are going to be the people who are teaching you. And I know for me, whenever I'm talking about maths with someone, doesn't even need to be maths, just something I'm interested in, I'd much rather speak to someone who is actually interested in that subject and seems enthusiastic and seems engaged. Whereas I wouldn't want to talk about, let's say, I like really playing basketball, for example. I wouldn't want to go and speak to someone about basketball for 10 minutes or whatever and them just be completely like a brick wall, not interested, completely disengaged, have no interest in basketball whatsoever. I wouldn't want to talk to them. But if they're enthusiastic, they also follow basketball, they also support a team or whatever, I could have a much more interesting, in depth discussion. Same thing is with the interviewers. You want to make sure that they are someone that goes, wow, I really enjoyed having that interview with that student. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be like cracking jokes and just trying to make them laugh and sounding over enthusiastic, but it does just mean genuinely be interested. So when you watch back your recording, so one thing you should be doing in your preparation is doing, if you can do mock interviews, that's great. And if for whatever reason you can't, do record yourself on your phone or whatever, talking through solving a problem. If you watch that back and you sound monotone, and likelihood is you do, change that. How can you change it? Well, when the interviewer asks you a problem, you could literally just say, oh, interesting. Or if they give you a hint to say, oh, have you considered sketching a graph? You can say, oh, no, I hadn't thought of that. That's a sensible idea. And also notice that I'm using inflections in my voice as well. So instead of me saying, okay, so I'm going to rearrange and make x the subject, and once I've rearranged x, I'm going to plug that back into the function, I'm going to say, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to rearrange and make x the subject. And once I've done that, I'm then going to take that x and substitute it back into the formula. It sounds a lot more interesting. It sounds a lot more engaging. Now, this isn't going to necessarily be the needle mover. This isn't going to be the thing that makes them say, yes, we want this student over this student. But at the end of the day, it's going to be something that helps. It's going to make their lives more interesting. You've got to remember, they are doing about 30 or whatever it is, 20 to 30 interviews in one day. These tutors, they're doing the exact same interview. They're asking you the same problems. They ask Bob the same problems. They're going to ask Shirley the same questions. They're going to ask them the exact same interview questions. They're going to do this for the whole day. They're going to be bored out of their mind. They don't really want to be sitting there for 10 hours straight asking the same problems, but they got to do it. So make it a little bit more interesting. Make it a bit more human, especially if you're applying for a nerdy subject like maths. I studied maths at Oxford, and I can attest there were a lot of stereotypical maths nerds there. Use that to your advantage. Make yourself stand out in this way. Sound genuinely interested in the subject. Because also, why on earth are you applying to Oxford or Cambridge if you're not interested in the subject? If you are looking for some more advice regarding the interviews, I'm actually running an interview preparation program. So we're actually kind of 2/3 of the way through, gone through some really, really interesting techniques. There's still a few spaces left. If you're interested, I'll leave a link for that in the description below. But the main thing to take from this video is just sound more interesting, sound engaged. And if you're struggling to work out what that actually means, record yourself having a conversation about maths or solving a maths problem to someone, and then do the same thing where you record yourself just having an everyday normal conversation with your best friend about what you got up to that weekend, and you'll realize the difference because you're going to be a lot more engaged and interested in talking when you're talking to your friends because you're both interested in each other's what they did over their weekend, whatever. So with the maths, do the same thing. You want to come across as genuinely very, very interested and very enthusiastic. Anyway, as I say, not a massive point, but it is something you can do and easily implement to make your interview preparation and your actual interviews a lot better. And as I say, if you did want some more support, I'll leave a link for my interview preparation program in the description below. I'll leave a video on screen where I give you some advice for the interview, some generic advice, and I will catch you over there.